And now we have to ask ourselves, how high can Jokic actually get in this conversation? Now, at the end of the day, the way the world is now, he's obviously going to have his peak stats are going to be there. His peak stats are already 3 MVPs in 4 years, an NBA championship. His peak stats can be up there with almost anybody. He's going to need some of the longevity stats to win over current NBA fans. I believe as long as he stays healthy, he'll get there. So the last thing he really needs is more titles. And I believe the Nuggets absolutely could win a title this year. And I believe as long as he's in this stretch of his prime, they are a title contender every single year. But I also want to stress, and this is maybe the most impressive thing about Jokic, even if he doesn't win the amount of titles that Kobe, Mike, LeBron did, could we just look at his teammate comparison? So people love to say when we argue those three guys, and especially LeBron and MJ when they get argued about, is what was the quality of their teammates? Because we give LeBron a lot of credit for '07, as we should, because we believe he made the NBA Finals with a lower than quality or lower than regular NBA Finals level team. Valid. But then people don't want you to take that away when he's winning titles with D Wade and Chris Bosh, who coming into the season, Chris Bosh was a top 10 power forward. D Wade was one of the top 10 players in the game prior to injury. And the Heat had obviously made all these other moves for complementary players. We don't want to use that to say, oh, well, now that title is quote unquote less impressive. Nor do we want to take the Lakers title away because he had Anthony Davis and the other acquisitions, Dwight Howard, etc. We don't want to take that away from him. Mike had obviously Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman during the second repeat. Kobe obviously had Shaq and then Powell. Out of everybody I just named, they're all better than Nikola Jokic's second best teammate at any given time, which is Jamal Murray. And I like Jamal Murray as a player, but Jamal Murray is not Pau Gasol. He is not Anthony Davis. He is not Scottie Pippen. He is not the D Wade, Chris Bosh, the guys LeBron had in Miami. And so Jokic is dominating like this without a true second superstar, which even if he doesn't meet there quite in the title department to get into that top 5, top 6 conversation, his peak, his dominance, and when we really look back at it, because almost all the all-time greats, especially in the NBA, have played with another all-time great. Go look at Bird and his Celtics teams. Magic had Kareem. Again, we just talked about Kobe, Shaq played together. Jordan, Pippen played together. LeBron, D Wade. All these guys have had, and if you want to go even further, some guys even got both, where Kobe and Shaq had each other as teammates, and they had Phil Jackson as a coach. Tim Duncan had Ginobili and Parker, and Greg Popovich as a coach. I'm not sure Michael Malone's going to be a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest head coaches ever. I don't know if Jamal Murray is going to be anything more than just a borderline all-star point guard. Excuse me. And Jokic checks every box. He is dominant against the league. He has the extreme dominance against one team. He has a peak that is as high as anybody's. This guy, when it's all said and done, we need to acknowledge this is one of the greatest players you've ever seen. And I'm not talking about the generic, oh, he's one of the greatest because he's in the NBA. He's one of the greatest because he's an all-NBA guy. No, this guy is one of the all-time greatest players we will ever see in the history of basketball. And I'm talking about top 5, top 10. Transitioning from that, talent is a hell of a thing. And there's a bunch of little quotes and most of them are corny about what people do with talent, and talent's wasted on talentless people and all these things, because talent and character are truly different. And a lot of people that are extremely talented don't always have the character to help match their talent and fulfill everything that we believe they could do. There's also a lot of people that just aren't as talented that are bitter. And that's where a lot of those quotes come from. But sometimes they're true. So, there's 2 extremely talented big men in the NBA. And to bring up an old story, Will, Tony, and I used to argue all the time. Go back and listen to really old episodes of Group Chat where we would argue Embiid and Giannis. And they would always say, well, Embiid's more talented, so he's better. There's just things that you do that Giannis can't do. Cool. He is more talented, he's more skilled, etc., all that stuff. But throughout their careers, Embiid, for as talented as he is, is one of the worst guys to ever lead your franchise. And it's just come full circle this season. Not only is he not playing games, not only you start the year injured after a summer you fought to play for the Olympics team. So you were healthy enough for the Olympics team, but didn't want to make sure you were healthy enough for your actual NBA team, in which you just re-signed a 3-year, almost $200 million extension. Make it make sense. One play for the Olympics, not for the team paying. All right, understandable. Then you miss even more games, and you come out and you say, not only do you come out and say, look, I'm injured, I'm not playing. Now, I'm also, because I'm injury prone, I'm never playing back-to-backs again. Why announce it? I agree, this would not be a big deal if he just didn't play back-to-backs. It would be kind of just business as normal with Embiid because of his injury history. But why would you announce to people, hey, just got paid all this money, again, just when I played for the Olympics, and now I'm playing even less when I come back? Okay. Understandable. Let's look at another guy who's extremely talented. His character was tested. Giannis and the Bucks got off to an awful start, where people started putting up draft projections, and the Pelicans had the trade rights to the Bucks for pick, and at a time, the Pelicans and Bucks both had the 1-2 pick in the draft. People were saying trade Giannis. Giannis had this funny quote of, maybe they'll trade me if I don't win. And everyone's like, are we seeing the end of Giannis in Milwaukee? And Giannis, who's a guy who's dependable, accountable, has all the talent in the world, can do things nobody else on the planet can do, similar to Embiid, instead of pouting, moping, or having his co-star make a podcast after a loss saying our rookie can't be our most consistent player, the Bucks have won 6 of 7. Giannis is balling. And Giannis is trying to... Now, they're all the way back to 5th in the Eastern Conference, which says a lot about the East. The East is very good right now. But one team is continuing to play bad, fold, have internal issues, leaked meetings that you're now upset about because they just blasted you, because why are you in a position to get blasted like that, and now you're trying to find the quote-unquote snitch? Giannis isn't looking for a snitch. Giannis isn't looking for... They're not having team meetings saying Giannis is showing up late everywhere. Giannis understood, we're not playing well. I need to play better. We need to play better. I'm the best player on the court. I'm going to go out there and do it. If I got to score 40, all right, I'm going to score 40. If I got to get to 50, I'm going to score 50. Whatever I got to do to recover our season, because it means something to me. Some guys just can't be the leaders of a franchise. Kawhi Leonard, whether you want to say it's health or not, he has kind of fallen into that category where supremely talented player, especially at his peak, can't be the best player, the leader of your franchise. Joel Embiid, all-time great talent. He can do things up there with Elijah Wan, Shaq, etc. Can't lead your franchise. Right now, we're learning. I'm a month or two away from. It's like, look, Zion can't be. Now, I don't believe he is, but Zion can't be leader of your franchise. B.I. has to be in New Orleans. B.I. has to be the leader of that franchise. If Zion's on the team, he has to be thought of as the number 2 guy, because there's a handful of guys throughout history, and Embiid's kind of the perfect of both, where there's guys with immense talent but they can't stay in shape, or guys with immense talent and they just can't get their head wrapped around it. Embiid seems to be both. He seems to be both delusional, and he's never stayed in great shape consistently. Zion, I think, has the mental part, but just can't get himself in shape. That video going around right now on Twitter after he got the back tattoo, not in flattering shape, especially for a guy who was expected to be in the best shape of his life just 2 weeks ago prior to injury. You don't put all that excess weight on in 2 weeks. So, again, always been a fan of Giannis. Giannis is the kind of guy you can hand your franchise to. He's going to make it work. He's a great leader, great franchise cornerstone. Embiid, I don't care how talented, I don't care how gifted, that guy can't be the best player or the leader of your franchise.